Okay, Jim, this is Bill Wilkutz, just doing your market analysis. I've been doing these video analysis for people. Kind of makes it easier. The thing I like about it is that I can go through stuff on the computer, and you can just watch it, and then you can stop it and start it over anytime you like. So you can jot down any questions as we're going through this, and then as I'm flipping through photos and whatnot, you can pause it and take a look at it, back it up, and so forth. So now on your market here, this is going to be a little bit different because than what I normally do, but I've been having some technical issues with putting together the market analysis, the actual presentation that would get printed out or whatever. Had some technical issues. As you can see here on the screen, you'll see a property here. This is your property. This is the old listing information from the old listing. And then what I do is I go through and I compare it. Like for instance, let's say there's a difference in square footage, and then I'll say, okay, well, there's a difference of 100 square feet or 300 square feet, and then I'll multiply that out by, say, 20 or $25 a square foot, and that comes to, say, $3,000. So I'll either add or subtract $3,000 from the sale price of this home in comparison to yours. So if yours is 300 square feet larger, I'll add to the price because yours has more to offer. And then for things where your property has less to offer, I'll take away certain amounts. This is kind of the same thing that appraisers do. So I'll just go through this. I'm going to go through it from a couple different perspectives. One, I'm going to look at the solds, which you'll see right here. And then I'll take a look at the actives and then just give you an idea as to where I think we should list the property, what you would expect it to sell for, if I think we might have some appraisal problems. We have had that more often lately in this current market, just simply because there are fewer homes available on the market. There are more buyers and more people buying. Or more people bidding on a property, which means you get into bidding wars a lot of the time, which is good for sellers. But if you're a buyer, which you're going to be both, it kind of makes it more difficult. So what I want to do is I just want to flip through these houses. These are houses in the area. These are all listings that have sold in the last 12 months. And I just want to show you some photos. They're all pretty much about the same as far as size, style, and so forth. Couple of differences. A couple of them are on the pond in the area or they're not. Um, Size is roughly about the same. Age is pretty much all about the same. So they're pretty similar. And one thing you'll notice here as we flip through this, you'll see that um, you'll see there's a couple of them that bring the value down of your house, basically. And I'll show you that. But let's just flip through this first one. It sold for 129.9. Let's see, where's the days on market here? I think this one sold pretty quick. Um, I'm not seeing it. So anyway, okay. So this one sold. They got full asking price. So let's just flip through this 129.9. Now I noticed that in the old listing you paid 110, I think it was. So here on the pond, and I'm just going to flip through these quickly. So if you want to, stop, take a closer look, pause the video. But you kind of get an idea. Pretty much the same layout, I think, on this one. So pretty nice looking house, similar to yours. 129.9. This one kind of gives you an idea that, I think you might be able to go 129.9. Now, we'll see here in a minute that there are some other properties that kind of bring all this down. Now, this is a nice one here. Wait, now what did that sell for? That sold for 125. Now they tried to sell at 134.9, but they ended up taking 125. So, and there are varying circumstances as to what goes on. At some point, some people just, okay, we're ready to move. Let's just take the offer. A lot of agents are, here the house is empty, so that's probably why. I think it looks like it's empty. Not a whole lot of stuff in there. So they might have been just ready to sell. They put it on there at 134.9 to just see what they could get, and then maybe just took the first offer that came along. That's one thing. If you walk into a house and it's empty, you probably have some bargaining room as a buyer. So here again, another nice little house like yours. So that one sold for 125. Now when I adjusted the price because yours, well, let's see, that was on the pond though. Okay, well maybe I shouldn't adjust for that. Anyway, they don't list a pond here, it being on a pond. And yeah, they don't list it as being on waterfront, but you can obviously see on the picture that there's water there. So anyway, I added 3,000, but I probably should take that back off. So this adjusted price, basically compared to this property, is what your house would sell for, since yours has it, in this case, this is wrong, but if it wasn't on a pond and yours is on a pond, I know you can add at least 3,000, 3 to 5,000 for being on waterfront in this particular price range. So, I'm a little conservative in my figures. I could go 5,000 for a difference, but I tend to be a little conservative. But I have no problems listing a house higher, um, and trying to get what we can for it. This is another one. This is on your street, just down from you. This sold for 119.9, which I think you mentioned this one to me. So here's what it looked like on the inside. And I'm pretty sure this one's not on the water. This is on the opposite side of the street. I think this one's got a little bit different layout, but still, looks about the same, as far as decor goes. So I think you're kind of I guess you'd say a good competitor against these houses. Now, my initial thought here is the house should have no problem appraising in the high 120s. I don't think you could get over 130. Maybe you could, but I'm confident about in the high 120s, except for now there's these couple houses. Here's one that sold for 107. Now, why they listed it at this price and so forth, I mean, this is all within the last 12 months where we've had this buyer's market. Plus, it's a little bit bigger. It's substantially bigger. The other homes were pretty much about the same size. Um, this one, this has a fireplace. This is not on the water, so we should add a little bit more for that. Take away a little bit because it's larger than your house. So you'd probably still come in an adjusted price. It'd probably still come in around 107. And here's the problem I was having, where I'd put these figures in over here in these boxes, and it wouldn't save. It wouldn't update this number. I got a couple of them to work, but I'm gonna have to get a hold of tech support on this and get some help. But I didn't want to keep you waiting, so I just went ahead and decided to go ahead and do this today. Um, Anyway, so there's 107,000. That one kind of brings you down. But because there's other supporting values, an appraiser can use those properties to get value on yours. Um, so here's another one, 99.5. Let's take a quick look at that one. We'll just kind of flip through. Now this one I'm not so sure. This is a Lancia. I don't know who built your house, but this one is definitely a Lancia floor plan that I've seen all over the area. So these are a dime a dozen. That might be why this one sold so low. I'm not sure. Um, I think actually that one, I think that's that kind of plastic trim and woodwork finishings. I don't like them. I just don't like them. Um, but for 100,000 in a starter home for a family, they're not bad. But I think yours is definitely well above that property. So that's kind of how we gauge things. where does yours fit in? Take a look at what's there, look at the prices, and then see where yours fits as far as decor, and then the black and white information, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, the age, all those different characteristics. So now I want to kind of shift gears. So I'm thinking, looking at the sold information, and this is where we figure, okay, what's the house going to appraise for? Um, that's where we estimate that number. And I'm thinking that this is probably going to come in at an appraisal in the high 120s, 127, maybe it appraised for 130, but I'm pretty confident about that. Now, the other aspect that I like to take a look at is the active listings in the area. So I'm going to pull those up. Now, these are active listings currently listed, and just want to give you some ideas to what you're looking at here. Now, this is listed at 137.9. Now, this house is what I would call a step above yours. Look at the square footage here, 1625. It's 22 years old. I don't know how much of a factor that would play into it. It's going to depend, but once the buyer takes a look at it, they'll figure into those things. But one thing I'll tell you about when you get a house that's 20, 22 years old, it's going to need a roof soon if it hasn't been replaced. Um, it will probably already have a new water heater because you usually get about 15 years out of those. If the furnace is still the original, then it's probably going to be going pretty soon. So you got the furnace and roof. I mean, those get to be major expenses, especially if you got air conditioning, which all these homes do. So this looks pretty similar to yours, except it's got a loft. So you flip through here, you can still see it's still pretty much the same. You've done some things to yours that I think make it pop a little better curb appeal. But the, the extra loft, that's a big plus. So that's additional square footage. So this kind of sets a cap for you. I mean, you obviously can't compete with this house just because it's got that loft. Now there's another one here. Now this was a two-story. This is 4 bedrooms. This is the one, I think this is the neighbor you were telling me about. And I'll just flip through these so you can see what this looks like on the inside. But obviously, it's larger, so you still can't quite compete with this just because it's got more space and it's 4 bedrooms. But here we go. Here's some photos. You can see what the kitchen looks like. Now, appraisers typically won't, use 2 stories to do an appraisal for a 1-story home. So you kind of see this is a nice looking house. But basically, it just kind of sets a standard here where somebody who needs a little more, they're going to pay a little more. So it kind of firms up your price, of price for you in the high 120s. So we'll move on from there. Now these, again, keep in mind, these are active listings. So these are your current competition. So somebody looks and they pull up, they pull up houses and the realtor, he just, okay, what's your price range? Well, we can go 130. Okay, well, those houses aren't going to show up on their radar. Now, if they can go 140, your house will show up and so will that one. Now, they may not need 4 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms is fine. And, like, well, for 7 or 8 thousand more, we could get an extra bedroom, but I like kind of not having some stairs to go up and down. So let's get Jim's house across the street for 129.9, and that might be the thought process that people go through. Here's another 2-story, obviously bigger. So just flip through some photos here. I think a lot of the decor through a lot of these houses that I'm looking at in your area, they're kind of the same. Um, there's some things that are a little different about some of them, but as far as up to date and condition and age and everything, they're all kind of about the same. So this one's listed at 119.9, 1,566 square feet right here. 25 years old, a little bit older house. So, that would be something somebody might consider. Now, if they don't want stairs, then, obviously their options are a little more limited. But that's a two-story for 120. Now, that kind of hurts you a little bit because makes the competition a little tougher. Here's another two-story. Now, this is Strawberry Drive. This is 52 years old. So here you're kind of getting into something totally different. Let me show you some quick photos here, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Um, this is very different. Now this is pretty nice looking. I think this one had some. Let's see if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one had. This was on a basement. It was bigger. Oh yeah, that's right. This one had some ugly bedrooms. I think the carpet was kind of awful. This is pretty neat looking. I mean, it's a sharp looking house here, at least in the downstairs area. But let's keep going here. A lot of pictures of the kitchen. Yeah. See, I don't know. That just does not look nice to me. So might be a bit of a turnoff. But the kitchens and the bathrooms sell things. It's easier to fix a bedroom, make it look nicer than it is a bed, other than it is a kitchen or a bathroom. That's a lot more work. So still not a bad house. Basement. Now that's fine for a basement. I mean, it's just a basement, so people don't get too picky about basements and the way they look. But this is pretty nice looking. So it's a nice house. I mean, for 110,000, that's a nice house. But it is 52 years old. It's in a different neighborhood, not the newer neighborhood, which is probably less appealing, and so forth. Let's take a look at just one more here. Plainfield. Yeah, now this is 104,000. I think that's in your area. So that kind of brings things down. Let's just see what this one looks like real quick. Yeah, I mean, it still looks pretty nice. So it's hard to say what to do here. Obviously you just put things on the market and list them at a price you come up with, and see what happens. You can always go down in price. But I'm thinking, with what I'm seeing here, I'm thinking go ahead and start at 129.9 because you just don't know what's going to happen. Somebody could walk in and uh, just love the house, and you go ahead and they might write you an offer. You never know. Now this is a bit older. I think this one you kind of get into what I call a little outdated or ugly. Concordia Gardens, which is a nice old neighborhood. Yeah, this kitchen, that's a little a little ugly. But it's an older home, it's cheaper, so I mean, it's kind of one of those get what you pay for scenarios. They've done some updating which looks really nice. So hopefully that gives you some idea as to um, one, what's available, who's your competition out there, who you're going to be competing against, and what the house will appraise for. We've had problems with appraisals. People write offers and they write high offers. We get offers above asking price. So, you get an offer above asking price. There's got to be properties out there that have sold that support that price. So if somebody even came in and offered you 135 and you're at 129.9, you still got to get an appraisal at that value. So that kind of gives you an idea, I think, of where you're at. So I would say my overall conclusion here would be go ahead and list it 129.9. I'm pretty sure that with what we've seen here, you can conclude that you really can't go above 130. I mean, you obviously can, but you're not going to get. I don't think you're going to get much above 130. Um, and just see how things go with your showings. It's also, right now it's just kind of a see how things go. If something new pops up on the market and it's cheaper, it's probably going to go faster. And if you want to compete with it, you got to drop your price. There's really not much in your home that I would say you could improve upon. In fact, I don't even think there was anything that I saw. I think it's just fine the way it is. Hopefully that helps. Now, the other thing I did here was I did come up with a net sheet for you. We'll just go over that real quick. I put 129.9 and 119.9 for prices. And if you just look at this, you can go right down the column, and in the gray boxes, this is the information that I fill in, and then the rest of it, it automatically calculates everything out. So down this column is all your figures and calculations for each of these sale prices. So here's the difference. So basically, we'll run through it real quick. You said your balance was about 4,000. You probably pay maybe $100 in interest at closing. Taxes, I went off the old taxes, about $1,100. So you take the property taxes that you'll owe. Let's see, current installment. This is June. So you will probably actually have, you'll probably have another 564. We should probably plug that in there. So you'll probably owe for a year's worth of taxes, maybe a year and a half. So that could be a bit higher. Yeah, so I figured 180 days prorated taxes. Now this could be off a little bit, but basically you'll have survey at 300, closing deed $75, miscellaneous recording fees $50, closing fee, the title insurance you'll pay. I put in a home warranty. Now, like I said, I like to be conservative, so I'd rather give you a lower figure and it come out better than what I told you. So I included that, which means, typically that's a home warranty on the property. Somebody may ask for that. They may ask you to pay for it. They're roughly about $400, and it's a 1-year warranty. If anything breaks in the house, it gets paid for. It's not homeowners insurance. It's completely different. So and then typically anymore, buyers ask you to pay 3% of their closing costs, so I threw that in there too. And then sales commission is 6%, so 3 to me and 3 to the other agent, whoever brings the buyer. And then my company charges a $175, they call it a administrative commission fee. So that's for like back office holding of your file and processing and things like that. So that brings total expenses, sales commission, your payoff, your taxes, your closing costs, and everything to about 18,000. Um, and basically, with what you owe, you'd walk away with closing with about 111 on this side if you sold it for 129.9. If you I think a worst case scenario would be 119.9, although I'm not sure that it would get that low, but it's possible. You'd still walk away with over 100,000 at closing. So hopefully that helps. Give me jot down any questions that you have and let me know. I will have sent you this link. Sorry it took so long, but like I said, I was having some technical difficulties in getting this to work, and I decided, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to get this done for him so that I get him an answer. So I hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, Jim.